Boo! Happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome to the WannaPod. Before we get started, I want to take time to thank you to everyone who has been reaching out on Instagram and Facebook and has been listening to the WannaPod. Please keep it up. Keep rating, reviewing, and subscribe to our channels on iTunes and SoundCloud, and of course, YouTube. Add us to your Instagram stories. Shout us out on Twitch. Anything helps. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/wearenoalamo, and help spread the word about the importance of talking about mental health by donating to our Patreon page. Help us keep this podcast going, patreon.com/wearenoalamo. And since you've been listening, you know that sometimes we joke about suicide, death, and other difficult mental health situations, but we want you to know that we don't really take it lightly, and we're concerned about you and the rest of our listener base. We really care about you and your well-being. If you're having suicidal thoughts or a plan, stop listening to this podcast. Call 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-TALK. And you can also text HOME, that's HOME, to 741-741. It's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and they provide 24/7 support to people in crisis situations. This podcast is about opening up the conversation, and sometimes it's easier to talk about hard stuff when there's a little laughter involved. Remember, we want you to stay with us, and you're not alone because we are No Alamo.
Hey, Paige, I hate to interrupt your amazing intro, but can you do me a favor and move your microphone kind of a little bit more the front of it? Like, see where that the actual shield is?
This?
Front? No.
This?
That twisted. Like that. There you go.
Cool.
Perfection.
There you go. Because you want to talk directly into it. It's a directional microphone.
So is it better now?
For the viewers out there.
Love it.
We love it.
Welcome. Welcome to We're No Alamo, the podcast. And this is getting into Halloween season, so boo. We're recording
Ghosts out there.
We're recording by firelight, candlelight.
By
Candlelight. Close enough. We'll take it.
Okay, so today we're talking about October, and it's about openness. And for you listeners out there, there's this podcast that I've listened to. It's from Gimlet Media. It's called Startup. If you've never heard of it, please go listen to it. I want this podcast to start being about, opening up to you, the listening audience, about what's going on the back end of We Are No Alamo. We Are No Alamo is a podcast right now. So if you would love to donate, patreon.com/wearenoalamo. What we're doing is opening up the conversation with mental health and destigmatizing that conversation. So from here, what I'm doing is developing kind of a business plan to find sponsorship opportunities, to build this program and to keep the conversation going. I want to be open about that with you guys. This is the first time I'm talking to Matthew and Donnie about it. So what do you think about that, guys?
I need money.
I know we all need money, but that's
need money now. Help me.
Help me, Jeebus.
I can't make this occur anymore without any financial stability.
That's why we need your donation.
Imagine we did the whole podcast like that.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Just talking
know,
like
right?
this the whole time.
I am your father.
I am your father.
We're about building awareness, not I need to get paid.
No,
on
a serious note,
Give it up.
what we do here is not something like
Nah.
the tech that we have, the equipment that we have, nothing about it is cheap in any way, shape, or form. So as far as if you're into the show and you're into what we talk about here and you're a fan, donating $1 or $2 definitely helps us keep the lights on.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
every
We
week.
won't be using candles.
I mean, we're all volunteers here, so it's not like it's for us. It's just to make sure that we keep everything running.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Everything's going in my pocket, dude. I don't know what you're talking about right now.
Shout out.
Totally kidding. Shout out to my pockets.
No, he's
that are
not.
empty.
I know,
No,
right?
he's not. No, he's not.
Kidding.
Shout out to my empty pockets.
Speaking of shout out, social media shout out goes to Matthew this week.
What?
Yeah.
Me?
Yes.
What did I do?
What did you do?
So, as we all know, Matthew is a technical recruiter.
I am.
And would you mind sharing about the meeting that you had this week with an M to F candidate?
Oh, I'd love to talk about that a little bit. So there's a person who I placed about 1.5 years ago, and this individual then, for whatever reason, I hadn't kept in touch because they were happy where they're at. I got them a great position at a great company, but now, they were just, for whatever was going on with them themselves, decided to open up and open up to people about them actually wanting to transition from a male to a female. And so, she called me up, was like, I left my position. I didn't feel comfortable there anymore with, things I was doing. I didn't feel accepted. And I'm feeling more comfortable with myself at this time, and I'm looking for a new position. And she wanted to come out to me and be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. And can you help me?
So open.
Yeah.
So open.
And I was like, well, absolutely, I'm going to help you. Like, there's no question about that. So, we met the other day and we came up with a game plan. It was fantastic, especially because there are some certain challenges with that. There's something that she wanted specifically for me to take a look at that were different, things I'd never heard of. And
for
honestly,
example?
there's a score that I honestly can't remember the acronym anymore, but pretty much what the score is how companies treat the LGBTQ population. And so, that was something that was
what
important.
we're talking about is M to F is male to female transition.
Yep.
So it's a part of the LGBTQ,
TQ. Yeah.
arena. And what I wanted to talk about while this is a social media shout out.
Yeah, absolutely.
is
It's
because
fantastic.
People who have been listening to the podcast, we refer to mental illness as MI. Now, for the beginning, like this podcast is growing.
And we're not saying that this is MI.
Exactly. No.
Not
We're
associated
talking
whatsoever.
about the acronym M to F as a respectful terminology for someone who's transitioning from a male to a female.
Yep. Or, F to M, either way.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the main reasons why we're trying to change the taxonomy here is more to build some sort of value to yourself. You don't have to say out loud that you have an illness. Like an acronym is shortened for a lot of things. Just say MI if you're in a restaurant or somewhere, where people can hear you.
Well, I need to interrupt you a little bit here.
Go ahead.
Because one of the issues, that's just issues, but things Paige and I have talked about a lot is she keeps on saying MI and I keep on saying mental illness. We've known each other for a while, so it's not like there's any hate or anything vitriol behind it. It's just in my entire life.
I just keep correcting you all the time.
You're correcting me to your dialogue, and
Right.
I understand that. But for my entire life, I've always said like mental health, or mental illness, or like I grew up, I was LD, so I was learning disabled. So instead of saying learning disabled, saying LD, I understand, and it's just taken me personally a while to say MI versus mental illness because with the whole term, it does have. I wouldn't say a derogatory statement, but it could to certain individuals.
Okay.
And if somebody
does because, like I was telling you the other day, whenever you talk about my mental illness, and I have been consistently correcting you, we had a conversation. I was like, "Does it bother you?" And what came out of that conversation for you?
That's just something that's going to take some time for me to understand and get used to using. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the issue. Like, it's not the issue; it's just the truth. I mean, it's kind of like me learning.
Well, just like M to F, like
exactly,
that
or F
took
to M.
a learning
It took
curve.
me a long time for me to understand that this was easier for someone to hear versus some of the other things. And
Exactly.
so I like the concept of MI versus mental health or mental illness for that same reason. But just like everything else, just like in the conversation I had with Sydney the other day, I was like, if I make a mistake, I apologize. My goal here is not to do anything offensive. It's literally to learn and to, I'm here for you. I'm on your side. And, I grew up a certain way and there's times I want to make mistakes. And you know what this person told me? I loved it. She was like, the fact that as long as it doesn't come from vitriol or hate, I could care less.
Ooh, I like that SAT word. Mm-hmm. All right, wanna weigh in. Donnie, what do you think about all this? What do you think about acronyms?
Being that I'm a nerd, acronyms have always meant
Nerd power.
When I think of MI, I think
Got
of
an
Mission
Avengers sweater on.
Impossible. I think I'm totally joking around right now. No, what do I think?
about.
What do I think about it? Well, see, I guess maybe why you guys have me on this podcast, number one, is because I'm always a different side of the coin.
Oh my God, we're gonna get into that after your opinion. Don't worry, because Matthew's been like, continue. We'll get into it. Go on.
So
keep listening, everyone.
So I'm the guy that comes on the podcast that basically says, "Hey, I don't really have the same opinion that you both do." To be honest with you, I think that gender, kind of going from male to female, I wholeheartedly believe there's only two genders. That's just how I am. That's how I was raised. Do I think that it's wrong if you think opposite? No, I think that you're entitled to think however you want to think.
Exactly.
But because I was raised in that environment, it's very hard for me to change like years and years of what I'm used to.
Right.
And I get it that people want people to do that, and that's fair. That they're asking for that, but they're not entitled to that. Because if I don't tell them how they live their lives, they can't tell me how I live mine.
Right.
And in essence, I respect them. I don't think I think that they're doing what they want to do, but at the same token, if they are doing that, then they respect what I want to do.
Yeah.
It works both ways. So, and also how I think about it is that my opinion and who I am and what I'm about, I don't think if I don't let them affect me and how I think,
Yeah.
they shouldn't have let me affect how they think.
Exactly. And if you're
Agreed.
asking for something that'll make someone feel better about themselves, then, I mean, bipolar depression is a relatively new term.
See, I'm not for the people that go out there and they're like, oh, this is bullshit.
Right.
No. Like, I believe in something. If I'm asked about it, I'm going to give my honest opinion because I believe that everyone deserves honesty.
Yeah.
And I think if the person is a male transitioning to a female or female transitioning to a male, I think that they'll respect me as that, just like I respect them. And it doesn't mean I have to sit there and wave a flag for them and throw a party.
I know.
Just, you know what I mean? Like, so
It's like I'm not going to hate
It's
you
called
as a human being.
respect for a reason.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly believe that whatever you believe, whatever you want to do, you will eventually like screw up in that goal, or that if you start letting what other people think around you affect you.
And that's when your support system comes in. So,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion.
devil's advocate. That's what Donnie's here for. So, Matthew asks me all the time, like, come on, and I'm telling you straight up, Donnie, like, what is Donnie doing? Like, come on. And I'm like, I'm keeping him. You're not a pet. Like, you're not. But I'm like, I'm keeping him because y'all
Sounds kind of like it.
y'all butt heads, and it's so funny.
We do.
Like, every time we go home, Matthew's like, I don't really agree about this with Donnie. Da da da. I'm like, why didn't you fucking bring it up then? You know?
Well, here's
I didn't want to throw down chingazos in the middle of your podcast.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I wholeheartedly believe that creativity. You're
You
gonna
need to
have a podcast.
feed off something.
It's not an interesting podcast if everybody on the podcast has the same exact.
No, what are you
opinion.
going to talk about? You're not going to brunch on a podcast.
Then it's just being a gluttonous human being and saying,
Exactly.
like, I want to listen to 50 minutes of somebody saying what I believe in. You know, like,
You have the news
Go
for
to
that,
church
people.
if you want
You
that.
have the news for that, people.
you want to listen to fake shit, go listen to the news. That's basically it.
Yeah.
But if you want to listen to real people have real conversations, come and tune into this podcast. And
That's
true.
that's what I mean. Honestly, I think that, and I just think that having when you're able to sit down and have these conversations, these discussions where you have differences of opinions,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
you're not walking around
Walking on eggshells.
punching each other or causing problems or
Right.
or rioting in the middle of the street. You're promoting an image, and that image is that you can sit down and have
Definitely.
a conversation about things that you might not be on the same.
And maybe not
level with the other
promoting an
individual.
image, but promoting an outlet. Like, if we can have these tough conversations, then that means that other people can.
Absolutely.
And we get to shed a light on it. Like, I kind of want to see y'all get in a fight a little bit.
No, well,
Is that bad?
Can I say?
I mean, y'all are pounding
You
it.
are
Y'all
a
are
little
bros.
sadistic, so I'm
but
not
I'm kind
surprised.
of gonna like.
Can I say a quick?
Hey, guys.
Can I say a quick example? So I gave Matt this example when I first met him. I told him I was like, so when I first came into Austin, I drove my mom's car down. My mom voted for Trump. She was a Trump supporter.
Oh my God.
And
So are mine.
yeah, so and I
So's
say
my
and,
father.
and I say that with
Who art in heaven.
I say that with the idea in mind that the comments section will be civil and will understand that everyone has the right to do what they want to do, of course.
Please comment, rate, review, subscribe.
And if you don't, then you don't. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this world. There's
Say
freedom
what
of
you
speech.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I first pulled into, I went to Joe's Coffee Shop on Congress. Shout out to Joe's. I love the coffee there. If you haven't been there
Shout
yet,
out, Jake.
it's amazing. They have an iced turbo there. It's just to die for. But anyway, so
I don't know what that is. I'm not hip enough.
Yeah. So I park her car, and on the back she has a Trump sticker, and I walk up to the coffee shop to order something.
And a 0.0 race
I
sticker.
literally turn my head to the right, and I see a guy walking his little poodle with a better haircut than he had, and
Austin, baby.
and
Austin.
and he walks up to
Beard oil on the
I'm
dog.
just surprised that wasn't a goat.
It wouldn't be surprising. It wouldn't
He's
be
on the way
surprising
to
enough.
yoga.
Keep Austin weird. Keep Austin goat filled.
It's so not weird.
So, but I see him go to the car and tear off the sticker and then kick the tire. And the energy and animosity in this individual's face, like you can tell that every single facial muscle in his face was working times 10 that day, and he's just like so angry. And and in my mind, I'm sitting there, I'm like, this guy has no idea that guy the owner of that car or the person who drove that car down from New York is literally 30 feet away from him.
Right.
So I walk over to him, and I'm like, I
confronted him?
I confronted him.
Dick,
I walk.
I love it.
I walk over to
Texans
him,
won't do that.
and I'm like, hey man, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, right? I'm like, yeah. Who are these people coming into this place with their Trump stickers? Who are these people, like, just doing whatever they want to do, coming into my town, doing this? And he's
Was
like,
this in the parking lot of a Sprouts?
He's like, so he basically responds back, and he's like, yeah, you know, right? Like, that's like, this is my town.
You know, right?
Coming in, nobody wants to live. And I'm like, what'd be crazy if the owner of that car was me?
That's even better.
Was me.
And he literally went from to like just like what?
I don't want to be confronted with the golden rule right now.
So I go to him and I'm like, dude, I'm not even mad, dude. I'm like, you need to see a therapist, bro. And I literally got in my car and just because that's the truth.
Give him the wanna
If you're literally that passionate, and
yeah,
you're walking up to random people who you have no idea who they are, and you're ripping stickers off their car. Like, you're making your cause look shittier.
I mean, at least I don't even know if this is illegal or not, but I'm going to shout it out. So my old house, during the elections or whatever, Panda. I don't even know like his name, but they had Panda signs out for voting. So I pulled out 3 of the signs because Panda, and I put them on my porch.
Oh,
and
my
then
God.
I got 3 Beto signs. And then Panda, Beto on my fucking porch. Is that illegal?
Hey man.
Nope.
It's not?
Welcome to Page's world.
I know. I have no idea.
Pleasure to meet
Page's
you.
world.
Yeah, it's so out of here.
We're all trapped in her world.
I know. I'm like,
I'm the
wow.
host, bitches. You're gonna follow my lead. I just care about your opinion. That's it.
I got those coming out the yin yang. You know what I'm saying?
But
No,
yeah,
it's
I got more opinion than brain
so,
cells.
So yeah, I think part of mental illness,
Am I?
is understanding what you have or what's going on with you and
Yeah.
being respectful on that front, and having to deal with people kind of. I just feel like the world is so torn apart right now that
is.
you can have a difference of opinion and still be friends.
Well, no,
Exactly.
you have to. If you can't, then this is
What a boring world that would be.
yeah. Like I definitely do not agree with everything Paige says. I definitely don't agree with everything you say. I'll be
Definitely don't
level,
agree with anything you say.
I know, right?
I am very cordial about it, and that's my problem.
He was like, I don't want to record,
No,
but I will. And I was like,
he goes, I don't believe everything you're saying, Paige. Then he goes to me and he's like,
I know.
Pretty much.
he doesn't even look at me. He just
That's what's up.
Yeah, pretty
Podcast,
much.
the middle finger gets thrown a
Hey,
little
the thing
bit
is,
too
I
much over
respect.
here.
I respect him, so I'm not like. There's no animosity. It's just
It's
but
fun.
continue,
It's fun.
continue.
we're both left. We're both like we both are very similar, very different.
I love it.
It's fun.
So keep going.
This pinko commie bastard, you know.
I know.
What
So-
can you do?
What have you learned, Matthew, about like we've been dating for a while now?
A hot minute.
Why do you believe in Juana? Still, like you've been there. I mean, Donnie, you've been here. I'm gonna ask you the same question. Fucking question.
Whoever
buddy.
said I believed in it, I'm just joking.
And that's where we wrap this episode up, folks.
And I'm
Thank
going
you for
on.
listening to the Juana
No,
Pod.
because I think the dialogue about mental illness needs to
Am I?
increase. The dialogue regarding MI needs to increase. There's so much stigma all over the place. It's becoming different now. Like there's a lot more people being open about their own struggles and strifes, and that's fantastic. But most of it's stuck within the celebrity realm, not necessarily in the individual human being realm. And
Yeah.
I think that we always look at these celebrities. We're like, oh well, of course, this and that.
What
But
did
we
you
don't
say?
correlate
Like
it to our life.
self-help is for middle class?
Oh yeah, like growing up in my household, like when I went to therapy, my mom, like my family's, upper
But
middle
you
class.
were older when you went to therapy.
I started going to, I was getting psychological tests and batteries done at like 5 years old, 6 years old.
Okay.
So like, From second grade on.
Sorry for what?
For not giving my correct age. I was about 8 or 9.
Where's the jar? Where's the jar? Where's the jar?
I think we left the jar at home, but I will definitely put the jar in there.
Put some money in the fucking candle right there. Just some coins in that candle.
Just
right there.
make a noise.
There we go. I totally will fucking put my money in there when I get home.
You
No,
will.
but
we
like,
have
so-
an accountability jar at home. Okay,
When
go
I
on.
actually started seeing, actually going to therapy, not just getting batteries done, because I had to get retested every 2 years. My mom said it's a privilege.
It is.
It wasn't something that was like a right of mine. And I was like, well, if I'm ever going to get better and not keep on repeating the same cycles I've been repeating for the past 10 years, I'm going to need some outside help because obviously my structure and everything I have set up isn't going to work. So that's my main thing. I think we talk a lot about mental health a lot more today than we did 10, 20 years ago. But I do still think that conversation isn't nearly as robust as it should be. And that's my main focus is, for the kids that grow up with learning disabilities, that's my main focus because that was me. It's
an invisible illness.
It is.
Same as MI,
Well, it's the same. It is MI.
Yeah.
Learning disabilities and MI are the exact same thing. We don't call them the same thing, but they're both in the DSM. So
Okay.
they are the exact same.
DSM means.
The diagnostic manual, I forget. Anyway, it's the book that every
everything
mental health, every mental disorder
It's
is in
the
it.
Encyclopedia of Mental Health Disorders.
Shout out to the Encyclopedia.
Exactly.
Yep.
Shout out to
And FYI, I'm listed under about 8
love
things
it.
in there.
and Oregon Trail. Yes.
I just died of dysentery.
That would be horrible. Oregon Trail was by far the best video game of the 80s.
It taught me so much about
And the
life and
90s.
death
It taught me how I can fail at taking care of my family.
and conflict resolution.
Or not even fail, you just fail.
Just fail.
It wasn't your fault.
You could do it on purpose, or you could get some flour and make some bread, dude.
Thanks, Oregon Trail.
Yep, your wagon wheel broke. You all died.
Thanks for
wagon
being
wheel.
a time machine and showing me I was going to be a failure in the future.
Yep.
So cute.
Salute to that.
Encyclopedia Britannica, anybody? All right, Donnie. So why are you still on board?
On WANA? Why am I still on board?
Yeah. Wanna tell me why you're still with Wanna?
I'm still on board because I
Nothing better to do.
I got nothing better to do. I'm still on board because I feel like this is kind of, and I haven't actually said this on the podcast before, but this is kind of my therapy.
Yeah.
I kind of look at it as that, and I feel like it can work for a lot of people if you just making a podcast and talking and shooting the shit for 30 minutes or whatever have you.
And usually I have an outline. Today I was like, no outline, just an intro. We're gonna shoot the shit.
I like the message. I like what you're trying to bring across to people. I like that it's very raw and that we have a good time here and we laugh. And I like that you have a very open outlet for people, that any person that can come on and just ask a question or whatever have you, and it will remain anonymous. And
email your questions and anything you think we should talk about it.
Please and thank you.
gmail.com.
overall, I just have a good time here. I like to just talk and, like I said, just shoot my feelings out and what I think about certain things. And again, what I think
in a
is,
safe place.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that I'm able to do that and have a difference of opinion. I do happen to live in one of the most liberal cities in America right now, Austin. So
Understatement.
I disagree.
Oh my God! Why do you disagree? Donnie,
Austin is
wait
liberal
till
for
Donnie's
Texas.
done.
No.
Are
I'm
you
gonna
done,
this.
Donnie?
Austin is liberal for Texas. It's not a liberal city.
what are you talking about right now?
What
man?
are you talking about?
It's not.
Austin is not a liberal city.
No, it's not. Like, you can pretty much
grew
go.
up
Even
this
the
morning,
host, even the host is shocked.
No,
I know, I'm
it's
like-
not.
What
It's
a
not.
shocking turn of events.
This is
Matthew
so not.
said.
I go to Wicker Park, Roscoe Village, and it's so much
I've never
more
heard
weird
anyone
than
say
Austin,
that.
Texas.
Can you say Wicker Park in Chicago?
Yeah, or Roscoe
Matthew,
Village.
where are you from, Matthew?
I'm a Chicagoan.
I'm going to tell you something right now. Okay, I come from New York, NYC. All right, I was going to vote for Bernie Sanders. All right,
Well, who wasn't?
I ended up.
Bunny!
I ended up not voting for anybody because I hated all the candidates. Number one. Okay.
I'll fist punch you on that one.
Okay. Number two. There's no way on God's green earth that anybody in New York City would ever walk up to my car and rip a Trump sticker off the back. There's no fucking way.
No, you
dude.
want to know why? Because it's respect. Difference. The neighborhoods had respect.
You watch too many Ninja Turtle movies.
No, man, in my neighborhood.
Step back.
Nah.
It's about respect.
No, it is. Because you might disagree in New York, but you'll say it to your face. You won't be passive-aggressive like in Austin. Austin, they'll come behind you, rip off your sticker, and throw it off, acting all cool, but they will not say it to your face.
And then donate to charity.
So
Patreon.com/wearenoalamo.
So would you
It's the truth.
So would you say that Austin has a lot of
Wannabes.
You wanna be
a lot of I'm gonna use the right terminology. A lot of hipsters.
This is not want to be hipsters. That's what I'm gonna say. They want to be hipsters, but they're not actually hipsters because they still are living ridiculously. Like it's so different. They're doing it because it's cool, not because that's who they are. There's a difference.
I mean, honestly,
I don't Austin. So no. I am a liberal. I am probably the most liberal person at this table.
Wait, why?
No, it's just not a liberal town. Like it's liberal for Texas because Texas is so conservative overall. So you have anything that's different than that, Austin sounds liberal.
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
Okay.
Don't
What
ask
do you
me
think
if
is
you
the
can ask a
What do you
question.
think is the percentage of people that come from California that live in Austin?
It's actually a lot less than people think.
You are out of your goddamn
No, it's
mind
not.
right
No,
now.
he's a recruiter,
No,
though, so I want
no,
to
I
hear
Oh
actually
yeah, he is
know.
a recruiter. I'm not even gonna argue numbers because he knows all the numbers.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
It's not as
That's
much
a
as
good
everyone
question,
thinks.
Though.
You know, the average. So there was a study that came out about a year ago talking about, the main group of people moving to Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston. It's not out of state people.
Because
it's people-
everyone's tired of bullshit.
Listen. I just can't believe.
Like-
When I speak to you, I see an intelligent human being, a man with a muscle in his skull called a brain. Okay,
I do
see
have that.
I see a.
dying.
I
My
see-
degree say so.
I see a person who is full of knowledge and has a good path ahead of him.
Sometimes.
And when you say Austin's
Donnie,
not liberal,
you're a
I
father
throw all
now,
that in
but
the
you're
garbage.
taking it too far. Yeah,
No.
you're a new dad, but
No,
you're
it's
learning how to lecture.
No, it's so it's
Bring
like
it
this.
back down now, y'all.
So it's like this.
Bring it back down,
Liberal,
y'all.
Bring
liberal
back down,
policies
yeah.
are things like wanting better everything for the like look at New York. We have public transportation in New York.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have buses that run on time, and actually you can get around without that, right? You also have liberal policies which are better for everybody. Austin, people don't want to spend any money to help anybody. We have the worst school system in all of Texas. On top of that, we have some of the worst healthcare in the country.
You know why, right?
Yeah, because we won't spend money on it, which is anti-liberal.
No, because Austin has a lot of hipsters, and hipsters are broke.
Well, they're broke because they spend all their money on their
Because they live
wax
in their dad's
mustaches.
apartment. Because they live in their dad's apartment, bro.
Yeah,
I've
they're
learned
living
on
in a
this.
basement with some goats. So,
So how can you say it's not?
but that's not
Wait
liberal.
a second. What you just said is totally liberal because you have
It's
the
not.
liberty. You're
No.
liberal in a sense that
I've
you can live in
lost
a basement
control of
with
these
goats.
men. I've lost
So
control.
the difference would be, in my personal opinion, would be that in Austin specifically, it might be socially liberal to a degree,
Wait a second.
but extremely fiscally
So, are you googling?
conservative.
I'm googling right now.
What are you googling?
I'm getting statistics.
What are
Do
you
it.
doing?
Do it.
How
I have the
much
numbers that back me
of
up.
Austin
They're going to vote Dem.
No, they're not.
is liberal?
Wait, no. I was expecting you to say Republican.
No,
Like,
no,
yes,
there's a-
they are going to vote Democrat.
No, but there's a difference between a blue dog Democrat and a real Democrat.
What does that mean?
That means
Blue
it's-
dog?
A blue dog is the same thing as they call, I forget the name for the Democrat. It's the same thing. So it's a Democrat name only, Republican name only.
So here you go. So this is an article from the Statesman. Okay, how liberal is Austin? Okay,
Comparatively to what?
It says
The Texas
the
Statesman?
Economist, citing data from the American Political Science Review study, posted a chart earlier this week mapping the political persuasions of large American cities. The study
Slow down,
considered
Donnie.
the study considered policy preferences of populations larger than 250,000 people, resulting in a graph that shows a decidedly leftward tilt for the nation's biggest municipalities.
Great. So we lost 5 listeners just now.
Of the cities represented on the chart, Austin lands in the number 14th spot as most liberal spot, behind names like New York, Chicago,
Damn.
and Boston.
Chicago.
So,
I get it.
I am corrected that Austin is not the most liberal city in the United States of America, but it still is number 14th
Damn.
spot.
No, but
There
I
are
agree
things.
with you.
Wait, real quick.
I'm
There's
not
one
gonna argue.
thing that Donnie will not back down on.
I
It is
know
that superheroes are real, and statistics don't lie when they're from the Statesman.
They're from the Statesman.
Superheroes are real, and they're called firefighters, police officers, and nurses.
Shout out.
Wait, I have another statistic right here from DJJazzyJeff.com.
Oh my God.
I'm totally kidding.
At TMZ.
At TMZ. No, the Statesman is stating that. So
I can see it being a liberal city, but I think that overall it gets a bigger name for that because overall Texas is so conservative. But like in Austin, talk about gun rights. No Austinite wants to curtail gun rights. It's very different than New York City or Chicago, where gun right advocates are very different. It's a different viewpoint. So I'm not saying they're not necessarily left of center, but they're not to the point of liberalism that you'll get in California, Seattle, Washington, Portland.
But you do know that when Hillary Clinton lost the election,
Wait,
there
what?
was like
She's not
riots
president?
in Austin.
She's not president?
Well, yeah, you want to know why? Because you had a whole bunch of drunk hipsters who thought they knew what they were doing, who didn't even freaking vote for the most part.
Y'all.
You heard that, drunk hipsters? Go out and vote.
Get out and vote.
Donnie didn't
If you want
vote.
to bitch about anything, go out and vote. I don't care who you vote for, just vote.
Donnie, you don't remember last time you talked shit about voting. I'm not sure if you listened
If you
to your
don't
own
vote,
podcast.
you have no reason or ability
See,
to say
Matthew,
shit.
That's a judgment.
No, it's not. Because if you don't take part in the political process, you have no
I
right to say
agree
anything
with
about
Matthew.
it.
I agree with Matthew on that standpoint.
That's like saying
I think if you don't give a shit enough to go
have...
No, I agree with him. If you don't give a shit enough to go out and put your opinion in or put your ballot in,
If you don't
then
vote,
you don't have a right to
you
say
have
shit.
no right to talk shit.
Because
None.
it's your job as an American to go out and vote for who's going to be running
And you
your
want to
country.
know what the saddest part of our country is? If you want to go this part, we had the lowest voter turnout in the first world.
Even after P. Diddy went out and did a PSA about it.
Or even
vodka?
even after
even
after Kim Kardashian said, "Go vote, people," because I'm plastic.
Well, you know what? The whole MTV take a friend to vote thing, I think is pretty cool. It's like
good.
a buddy system to go vote.
But
Please go out and vote.
Please,
in
everyone,
your
vote.
midterm. It starts
Vote.
on Monday. Well, this comes out on Friday. It starts on Monday.
You
Go
have
out.
no right to complain about the government if you don't participate in it.
Amen to that, Matthew.
That's it. I don't care what side of the equation you're on. I will talk and I'll be respectful to forever.
Okay, now I like what you're saying now, but I have to go back to So I
Go
like
back to where?
for 10 minutes. So you're my friend for about 5 minutes. Now
If that, like a minute.
now it's over. Go fuck yourself.
F you. You're cool. I'm going home.
You're my boyfriend. We live together. I will see you later, boo. You can fight with Donnie all night. He's got a family to go home to.
I love it. Get me
man.
on my soapbox.
Get on there.
I'll do it all day.
Dude, you should totally get into politics. You're a real fake piece of shit.
I'm like Clay, baby. I'm like Clay.
I'm not doing outlines anymore. This is probably the most fun I've had on this podcast so far.
You really got what it takes, man. You're a real fake piece of shit. You really
It's
got
really funny. It's really
Public opinion will sway me whatever way you
All
guys
right,
want.
Let's bring it.
Unlike Bernie Sanders.
Let's bring it back, Donnie. Finish your shit. What did you want to say?
It was shit.
What was I saying? I was saying that
It obviously didn't matter. All right, so we're
It
gonna
did- it
wrap
didn't
it
matter.
Can't
up.
It didn't
remember?
matter.
It was a lie.
I completely blanked.
Quote my mom.
Mastering self-soothe.
I did a
I'll start. So, mastery this week, I did it today. I got a job, everybody. I got a new job.
nice.
Woo!
Nice.
Been working on it for a long time. I'm so excited.
Can I say a comment with a full handful full of salt?
Just don't tell me. Just don't say where I'm working or what I'm
Nope.
doing.
Thank God you're not on the government teat anymore.
Oh shit!
Oh my god. This liberal
Damn,
son of a
boo.
bitch went there.
Damn, boo. You know what's sad? I'm glad too, because I feel like I can do a lot more outside of government now that I've worked in government. And I have a master's in public administration. And shout out to all my professors who helped me get this far. Honestly, you taught me how to
And
think.
she's working for a nonprofit.
Yeah. You taught me how to think. And you taught me how to write.
Shout out to your job.
Shout out to
Don't say
everyone
it.
who made it possible, because it took 2 months of hard work. And that's my mastery. Self-soothe. Go home. And I'm going to eat some pasta, bitches.
Ooh.
Ooh, eat some pasta. Matthew, what's up? Mastery self-soothe.
What's up with you, Matt?
My master self-soothe for the week. All right. I took on a client that I know there's going to be lots of pitfalls and road falls.
You're MDEF.
No, I don't
Oh, a different client.
No, it is. It is. It's. I want to make sure I do good by this individual and find them a place where they can grow and prosper and do what they're supposed to do and
Be safe.
To be quite honest, like it's going to be not necessarily a challenge. It's because they have a lot of strict requirements for me. I'm excited about helping this individual find a job, and
Perfect.
like you have no idea. Like this person's a rock star. Like their resume is so on point that I'm like crying.
That's so good.
And they're just so talented, and I'm excited for this individual.
awesome. Self-soothe.
Self-soothe is, I guess start running again after breaking my ribs.
Yeah, that's true. Clap,
I haven't
clap.
been able to run for like 2 months, and I finally am feeling good enough to run again. So
And we talked about that a little bit on the last podcast
Yep.
too, and you've been running. So
been trying,
congrats.
but now it's getting back to the game point. So I'm happy because I'm like, without running, I don't do so well.
Oh, Donnie, you get the cha-cha on the outgo.
That's right. I get that.
Master
cha-cha.
self-soothe.
Mastery. I'm actually changing my diet up completely.
Ooh,
I'm going.
What are you doing? Full keto?
No, I'm not doing that.
Please,
it's so,
no.
it's so liberal.
stop
so
being
liberal.
so hipster, so South Austin.
No, I'm just eating a lot healthier now. Getting rid of all junk foods altogether.
I love how I'm like,
eating
I'm
a
gonna
lot
eat
of
pasta.
fruits. Discovering new herbal methods of curing like little ailments and things like
Marijuana?
getting a common cold or things like that. How you kind of get rid of it without actually downing down massive amounts of drugs and
What
bullshit.
did you eat? What was the cactus?
It was a prickly pear.
yeah,
prickly
man,
pear.
that's badass.
Y'all
shout
check
out
that
shout out to the
out.
prickly pear.
Yeah, it's got a lot of.
Shout out to Baloo for calling that out in the Jungle Book years back.
It's
When you
the
pick a raw
bare
I love
prickly
that
pear.
necessities.
Next time, beware.
Bare
He knew about it. Baloo fucking knew about it.
And we should all scratch our backs against trees too.
That
It'll feel
too.
great.
And as
Eat
far
more
as
garlic.
as far as soothing is concerned, I mean, every night for me is soothing just laying down next to my daughter.
Dude, you can't even imagine how good that is.
Yeah, it's just the best thing ever.
I just love that.
Yeah. So
All right, you guys. Thanks for joining in again. And remember, you're not alone because
We are no Alamo.
Peace out, everybody.
See you
Cheers.
next week. Cheers.